What's going on, friends? Baltmatrix here, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Cyberverse Ultimate Class Grimlock. Now, I picked this figure up at my local Target. He was the only one on the shelf, but there were a lot of other figures around there. I think the scalpers were actually trying to get to a lot of the Siege and other Cyberverse figures. Who knows? It was a mess. This guy was hidden in the back, and I just looked down on the shelf, and he was right there, so I grabbed him. Size comparison-wise, this figure is significantly larger than a Voyager class Siege figure. He stands at 11.5 inches tall, and that scales to being easily a head taller than Siege Ultra class, but it is a couple heads shorter than Siege Jetfire and a Combiner Wars Gestalt. Grimlock is also just about the same height as MP-10 Prime. Grimlock's also the same size as the original Optimus from the Ultimates line. Now, I can't find Megatron. That's mostly because my son stole him and did something with our favorite beef tank. So saying that Grimlock is pretty darn big is not quite an understatement. The overall coloring works incredibly well, however the yellows are different all along the figure. The overall aesthetic, though, is quite good, and I do like his very Grimlock-esque chumpy faceplate mouth. The head sculpt is quite good, but I would have loved if it could, I don't know, been more cartoon-esque. But then again, this new Grimlock that we have in this series is much, much different than any other Grimlock we've ever gotten. Posability for Grimmy Boy here is actually pretty okay. Head is on a swivel, though it is very tight. Shoulders have swivels for forward and back, and they do go 360 degrees. Then there are hinge joint for almost a perfect T-pose. Each arm has a swivel just above the elbow, and then the elbow can bend over 90 degrees. The claws that are on the outside of the hand do move, but the actual fist does not move, and I really wish it did. Figure can kick forward pretty darn far at just over 90 degrees and can kick back almost as much. The bend at the knee is well over 90 degrees thanks to the transformation. And then his ankles do have a little bit of articulation, but they're mostly forward and back for the transformation. Grimlock does have a stomp gimmick that is activated by the heels, so you slam the heels down, and these little blades pop out and are supposed to act like shockwaves. That really was Sludge's thing back in the original Generation 1 series, but I'm okay with it here. The only real issue I have is every time I put the darn figure down, if with any kind of force whatsoever, these bits, or swords, or whatever, blades, shockwave blasts, have a tendency to pop out. And they do work if you just pop them out like this. So they can do, well, parallel to the entirety of the figure. That's how it works in vehicle mode, yeah. Dinobot mode, or Dinosaur mode, or whatever the giant thunder lizard is supposed to be. The figure's overall aesthetic is good in robot mode, though the dinosaur head is literally tucked right up against his arse. The back of the figure is pretty hollow. I can forgive the legs and the chest being hollow because of the nature of the transformation. The arms are surprisingly not hollow, which I'm surprised at. I expected them to be hollow. The plastic on the figure feels okay, a little bit thin for the size of the figure, but everything feels tight, which I appreciate. The only thing I'm not thrilled about is I really feel like this figure could be a lot smaller and a lot cheaper price point for the amount of chunk that we have going on here. Because, quite frankly, let's face it, there's not a whole lot of posability happening for him to, well, be able to hold any other poses other than this and what you see in the icon at the beginning of this video. Grimlock's transformation is actually more complex than I was originally thinking it was going to be, and that has to do with the gimmick, well, the incorporation of the gimmick into his alt mode. So to start with the transformation, come down to the fists and simply fold them back and turn the arms so that the outer dino bits are pointing forward, and that's it for the arms. Then I like to take the arms and just kind of fold them out just a little bit, leaving enough room so that we can come around to the back, fold the dino arms down, and grab the entire backpack and flip it up over Grimlock's head, and then fold the arms down. For this, you actually do need to point the arms, or the robot arms, directly back. Now, one thing you do need to be aware of is this feels incredibly floppy. It doesn't hold into place all that well. We'll fix that here in a minute. And to do that, first, we're going to come down to the legs and grab the feet and fold the feet all the way into the inside of the legs, trying not to trigger the gimmick. Split the legs apart just a little bit so you can turn the legs, fold them, and then do that on both sides like so, getting them just underneath the chest a little bit. So you want to get it kind of like this. Then we can grab the entire chest, unpeg it. There's a big old hinge back here, and this whole section will go over the feet and the upper legs, though getting everything lined up is a royal pain, and I'm honestly not sure how a little kid is going to be able to manage this. So then grab those gimmick pieces, flip them out of the way, come down and combine the legs together while keeping the gimmick pieces pointing straight up that will form the tail. Legs will combine in the back, push the tail together, fold the tail down, and there are little pegs that are going to be sitting underneath, and those will snap into place. They do require more force than you think they will. Then the entire chest will fold back over these legs and snap down into place like that. Then we can fold the legs down like so, and that is the robot mode, or Dino mode, not robot mode. The dinosaur mode is actually pretty cool looking, though it does feel a little bit weird in the proportions department. Of course, even in 2019, we still don't really know what a Tyrannosaurus Rex looks like. I do appreciate the missiles being visible on both sides. The main issue I have with this mode is that the screws, or the hinge, for the elbow aren't really strong enough to hold up the amount of weight, especially in the tail. We'll take a closer look at that here in a second. Overall, though, the Dino mode looks really good, especially when you compare it to the other Dino modes for Grimlock that we've already gotten, especially that Scout figure. Yuck. In Dinosaur mode, Grimlock's mouth is able to open and close, and he can actually open it quite a bit, and I really do appreciate the fact that they did bother to paint the teeth. Also in this mode, he's got these little stubby arms, which are, well, they feel more proportionally bigger, or they feel proportionally bigger than, say, his MP figure. And by MP, I mean Masterpiece. So again, here, I wanted to show you, if we just put a little bit of pressure on that, yeah, they just fall down. It's not that bad, but and it could be fixed with a little bit of pledge, maybe. But, so, I'll try that again, or I'll try that later and let you all know. Now, the gimmick is activated by pushing these buttons on his tail, or pushing them together, and it snaps out like that. So we'll do that again. I'm assuming this is the tail shockwave. Oh, and his tail can move like this, which is cool. So push the button, and there we go. Looks more like a fan or a big sword. Actually, it kind of resembles his sword from the games. The recent games. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Again, you have to be careful because while transforming it, I don't know if you caught it, but I actually activated the gimmick several times. So, yeah, I was able to catch it, though. So, yeah, Dino mode's pretty good. He's got a few issues, specifically with these arms, but otherwise, I think it works pretty well. I have to give Hasbro credit. This is a fun toy, and it is a toy, so we do have to remember that. This is a toy meant for children. And that actually is a little bit concerning to me because this transformation is not kid-friendly, or at least I don't think this is kid-friendly. As the owner of a small child, I can tell you that he would not be able to do this. I would definitely be the one to have to do this for him. It's not awful. It's definitely not the worst transformation I've ever seen. I just don't think it's 4 to 6-year-old compatible. Of course, there are plenty of kids out there that will prove me wrong. I might just be worrying over nothing. Overall, though, this is a pretty good Ultimate figure. The only Ultimate figure that I've gotten a hold of. Now, I actually don't own the Bumblebee Ultimate figure, but I played with it, and it was enough for me to say, no, I don't want this figure. But the Grimlock figure, this figure is pretty cool. So of the four, Prime, Bumblebee, Megatron, and Grimlock, I would say Megatron's number one, Grimlock's number two, Prime, then Bumblebee. I really don't like the Bumblebee figure. I don't think it's worth picking up. Prime's fine. Megatron is freaking awesome. And Grimlock is also a lot of fun. So folks, if you've got a little kid in your life that's maybe a little bit older and would like a giant Tyrannosaurus Rex transformer, this one might be worth picking up. So let me know what you think of this figure down in the comments. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and please be sure to hit the bell so you know when a new video review is out. Thank you so much for watching. I have been Baltmatrix, and I'll catch you all next time.